At Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Today's weather, 79 degrees, climbing up toward 90 later in the afternoon. Cloudy all day, but no chance of precipitation in the forecast for today. There will be rain tomorrow, Friday, 50% chance with a high of 91, and on Saturday, a 45% chance of rain with a high of 94. I'm Casey Whitener with your On Point weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com. Press that button, home stew.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And a very pleasant good Thursday evening to you, and welcome into Sports Talk Media Network on a terrific Thursday. Phil likes to reference today as a big Thursday, and normally it is here on the program, paying homage to the old South Carolina Clemson football games around the state fair on Big Thursday, but it's an even bigger Thursday here on Sports Talk than you can possibly imagine. And we'll let you know why here in just a couple of seconds. Chris Bergen over here in Florence in our Sardis lovely palatial studios. Meantime, back home in Columbia, we've got Josh Cohen with us, ready to line you up and also get Kelvin Millington's commitment announcement ready to go here in just a couple of moments. We're big on recruiting, so evidently this kid is going to commit to the Gamecocks, it appears. So, Josh, we'll make sure we're able to carry that live. It'll be a big surprise, I think, to a lot of folks if he says, I'm going to the University of Georgia. Now, he is a Georgia kid, so we shall see.
I looked up his name, and the first thing that pops up is I don't even know what's popping up. We got a YouTube video, but it's private, so we're working on getting that video up for us.
Well, you keep us posted. I know you'll do well. But also joining us tonight, you know him as one of the media moguls in the Midlands, but behind the scenes, he has been able to help us out here the last couple of weeks and months, starting to grow Sports Talk into a bigger conglomerate than it already is. As we welcome on air, I'm not sure if Mike's ever been on the air with us before. If not, this is the first time we say hello to Mike Gillespie here on Sports Talk. Good evening, Mike.
Hello, good evening. How are you, sir? What's going on?
I'm doing tremendous, man. We appreciate you spending some time with us on radio. Hence the reason tonight is even a bigger Thursday than normal. We've got somebody with some talent on the program tonight.
Yeah, no, that's very kind. I appreciate that. But you got plenty of talent on this radio network, including Josh Cohen. I was talking to Josh about an hour ago about some tech stuff, and man, I tell you what, that kid is going places.
Yes, he is.
I sound like my grandfather, but he's got the juice. I don't even know what that means, but he's got it.
We are just really hoping that the 25 cents a day that we pay Josh for all the stuff he does for Sports Talk will be enough to keep him here.
Yes.
Hopefully he's not in this for the money. He's in it for the women.
and booze. women and free booze.
Exactly. All right, 888-898-2525. If you'd like to join us on the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, you can also text us anytime at 803-900-4847. We have a really, really fun show for you here tonight. In addition to Kelvin Millington, his commitment announcement in just a couple of moments, if we can get it up on the air. It's a Thursday. That means we've got the rundown with Post 215 head coach Chris Dorsey. Just after 6:30 tonight, we will talk some American Legion Baseball, presented by our good friends at the Big Red Box Company. So we'll do that just after 6:30 at 7 o'clock. This is a big get for us, and it's only because Mike's got really good connections. Mike, you were able to line up Skylar Meade, former Gamecock pitching coach and now the head coach at Troy, is going to join us after 7.
Yeah, what an incredible run. Took down my Gators in the regional. That was just insane. The probability of that was so incredibly small. I tell you what, Kevin O'Sullivan, I've heard from some pretty good sources. He's that has lit a fire under his butt because he had a pretty clear path to the College World Series this year. With Southern Miss, getting knocked out. Little Rock. It was going to be Little Rock coming to Gainesville. And, Florida was going to beat them twice, but they just looked past Troy. And it's crazy what Troy was able to do even in the College World Series. They were incredibly competitive. And you talk about Mark Kingston. Some of Mark Kingston's best teams, and that's when Skylar Meade was the pitching coach. It's no coincidence.
If you don't know Mike, you just heard him mention he is a Florida Gator as well. So we've slid another one in here to go along with the
Mike Morgan, yeah. and Josh, yeah.
The Gators are taking over, Mike. The Gators are taking over.
So, and also tonight, we are going to look back on some of the worst football ever played inside Williams-Brice Stadium. Alan Piercy is going to be with us after 7:30. He's got a book project that he's working on to chronicle the 1998 and 1999 Gamecock football seasons, and then the remarkable turnaround under Lou Holtz in 2000 and 2001. The project is entitled "It Could Have Been Worse: A 21-Game Losing Streak in the Battle for the Soul of Gamecock Football." Mike, it's due out next year, but I think this might be a fascinating read.
Yeah, that will be. I had an incredible experience last summer with 1801 Media. When I was helping those guys out, we went down to Orlando to interview the great Lou Holtz, and what a special guy. Just incredible interview. So honest and they don't make guys like Lou Holtz anymore. He was one of a kind, and he's just one of those guys who's been through so much personally. He had been before he died. Losing his wife a couple years back, and he's just one of those guys that perseveres. And during that losing streak, I'm sure that there were some moments that he wanted to maybe walk away, but he stuck it out for his guys.
Yeah, it's a remarkable story, and he certainly did. And I think the timing on this is extremely appropriate with the passing, as you pointed out, of Coach Holtz back in the spring. And now looking back, I can remember vividly when the Gamecocks finally broke that 21-game losing streak. I think it was New Mexico State or New Mexico. Can't remember which. But the goalpost coming down after you beat a subpar team on your home field, a game they were expected to win, had it not been for a 21-game losing streak prior to that. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Alan being on the show. I think this will be a fun conversation with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. That should be great. That should be great.
All right, Josh, any luck with the Kelvin Millington announcement?
Well, I have a live stream, but I don't see anything yet. I'm working on it. There's in a commercial break now. According to them, it's CBS Sports College Football, their YouTube channel, and I guess 247 Sports is there. We're going to see when we come back, I guess, but we can go to a break maybe, or what do you guys want to do?
Yeah. Tell you what, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and clear out the break so we can come back and hopefully catch his announcements. Looks like the Gamecocks for the defensive back out of Georgia, but that still remains to be seen. So we will take a quick timeout. We'll come back. Mike and I will kick around some of the other news notes of the day, introduce you further to Mike Gillespie. So certainly looking forward to doing that as the program unfolds. Take your phone calls at 888-898-2525 on a big Thursday night here all across the state of South Carolina on Sports Talk, the Sports Talk Media Network. Stick around. We've got plenty more to come.
might be tough to picture your kid in college today, but it'll be here before you know it. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to start saving right now. You can start with any amount. Savings grow tax-free, and friends and family can chip in too. Discover the smart, easy way to save today at futurescholar.com. That's futurescholar.com. That's futurescholar.com.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is right around the corner here in the Palmetto State. As you get ready for this spring and summer, make sure your registration sticker is up to date and you have a copy of your registration card on board your boat. For more information on boat registration and answers to common questions, visit dnr.sc.gov.
Looking for thrills? Then welcome to the South Carolina Education Lottery, where excitement's the name of the game, and every chance at a win
Just one more. Come on, so close.
comes with a chance of a whiff.
Well, no biggie.
Nicely done. You handled it like a pro. Because when the stakes start getting too real and you find yourself playing for more than fun, it might be time to take a break.
Good point.
Playing for fun makes you a better player, and a better player is a better you. Learn more at SCEducationLottery.com.
Back we are on Sports Talk, Sports Talk Media Network here across the state of South Carolina, trying to work through some audio issues with Mike, get him lined up so not only can he hear us, he can hear you and himself, maybe most importantly. Get that squared away here in just a couple of seconds. Waiting on Kelvin Millington. He is scheduled to announce a commitment, it appears, to USC, the cornerback out of Bogart, Georgia. And as soon as he steps up to the microphone, Josh is going to let us know, and we'll slide over to that announcement. We've got more recruiting later on in the program we'll certainly get into. And as we mentioned, we've got a full boat of guests. Okay, here we go. Off to Kelvin Millington.
Virginia Tech, Kelvin Millington. Please tell everybody here at the Nike opening finals where you're playing your college football.
All right. So, for the next 3 to 5 years, I'll be going to the University of South Carolina.
Picks up a South Carolina hat and then a jersey.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Fires me up. Huge win. This guy gets it. He gets it. Let's go, man. Huge win for Shane Beamer. 3-star cornerback Kelvin Millington, a stock-up guy for us at 24/7 Sports.
All right, there we go. That's good enough. What did he? Who are the other teams that he evidently threw a hat away or a jersey, Josh?
Well, so
he said nah.
There was a Virginia Tech hat and a Texas Tech hat. Threw a Texas Tech hat off the table first, and then the Virginia Tech hat. Then picked up a South Carolina hat and picked up a South Carolina Nike jersey. He made sure to emphasize it was a Nike jersey.
Oh, that's right. That's what they'll be wearing here in, Mike, in about 6 days when it transitions over to July 1st.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. It's going to be, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a little strange to see. But that deal had to go through. But yeah, Kelvin Millington, picks the Gamecocks over, I think it came down to Virginia Tech and a couple other schools, but everyone felt pretty good that Kelvin Millington was going to be a Gamecock and follow the many defensive back greats that have come through the program over the years.
And they've done, I think Torian Gray may be the most underrated coach on that staff. I think he is terrific, and the job he's done with so many of those guys in the secondary. You followed recruiting, not just when you were around Carolina, but as you've covered other schools over time. How much do you believe, because I've heard Shane Beamer mention it, and I'm sure the basketball coaches are going to as well, how much do you believe the transition over to Nike is actually going to help be a benefit for USC?
Yeah, no, I mean, a huge benefit. Obviously, getting a guy like that in there, look, we've seen games won and lost, by defensive backs. Some of the best Gamecock football teams have had, just these incredible safeties, corners. So clearly, it's a big win for Shane Beamer and company. It's congratulations to Carolina, because that was a big one on their board for sure. And the coolest thing for me, now that I've kind of removed from the TV world, I watch these guys sort of from afar, and it's always neat for me to see how they develop in that first year on campus. Because they come in and they look so scrawny, and then, man, by that next summer, they can they can push a semi truck down I-77. So,
well, and the freshman 15s for them. Entirely different than the freshman 15s were for us.
Yes,
the non-football players.
Yeah.
All right, so Kelvin Millington. No, you're good. Kelvin Millington announcing his commitment. He, let's see, did 4 commitments now for the Gamecocks over the last 8 days. And they actually have 4 more of their top targets scheduled to make announcements between Sunday and next Friday. We'll get you a full recruiting report coming up in just a little bit. Hit on some of the other news notes of the day. But before we do that, I wanted, Mike, if you wouldn't mind, just for folks who maybe aren't familiar since you've been out of television for, a short period of time. But if you weren't in the Midlands, you may not know who Mike Gillespie is. So give us a brief rundown of the Mike Gillespie experience.
Yes, it has been an experience. I tell you what, it's so I got here in 2014. I worked for ABC Columbia Wolo for 10 years. I was their sports director for almost all 10. The great Tim Hill was my my boss back in the day. Loved Tim. He brought me in and then left to do radio for that other station for a little while, and the last 2 years I helped build a network called 1801 Media, which is a really cool thing that the Garnet Trust is doing with their athletes. Basically, a way to is another way to take in money for athletes, and it's a really cool venture because these kids can make money off of their name, image, and likeness, which is why NIL and the all of this legislation was created in the first place. And they can host shows, be on shows, and it was a really, really cool experience over those 2 years, and we got that up and running, and one of the first schools to do it in the country, actually, and so. The media landscape changes every single day, Chris, as working in this crazy monkey business. It really does. But, it's just, trying to stay on top of things the best you can. I read something the other day. This kind of blows my mind, but there is more advertising money being put into podcasts than any other form of media. If you would have told me 10 years ago that we would have this thing that's essentially AM radio, right? Yeah, and true. It would be the biggest thing on the planet, I would have said, you're out of your mind. You're crazy. Crazy.
That's remarkable. I was actually having a conversation with somebody earlier today, and that was one of the questions they asked. Do I do a podcast? And, we post portions of our show up in a podcast form, if you will, but Sports Talk does not have a dedicated podcast. But good grief, if the amount of advertising you can go in that direction. Josh, in your spare time, since you're done with the website now, finally, maybe you can start working on a podcast for us.
I'll add it to the list. Do you want to host it, or do I have to host it as well?
You got to host it as well. So you've got all this free time now that the website design is out of the way.
Why even go to school, Bergie? Why do I need school?
Honestly, I was actually having a conversation the other day with somebody about putting together, the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, right? You can, I'm going to be very I don't even know if I should say this, but I'm just going to say it. I don't know if we live in a world today where you really need a media degree. I think that you can learn.
I think that may be fair.
I think you can learn what you need, which is crazy. But it's because you have all of the tools at your disposal now, right? And that wasn't the case, even 10, 15, 20 years ago. But now everyone has a podcast. Everyone's got a cell phone, like with a built-in camera and microphone. And, it's nuts. I mean, it really is. But I'm going to get into a lot of trouble for saying that, I'm sure. But,
not
I'll
from
take
us.
the heat for it.
Not from us. I tend to agree with that. If I didn't have parents that said, if you don't go to college, you're not going to get any money, then then I wouldn't be in school. I'll just be honest with you.
I'm very proud of my broadcast journalism degree that I got back in the dark ages in 1992. But if you're watching on YouTube, you can see Mike is at his house. He's got a microphone in front of his face. I am at my house. I've got a microphone in front of my face. Josh is the only one that is truly at a radio station to be able to produce a statewide program. I mean, you're right. And the amount of stuff, and I don't know about television. I actually interned for a little while and did some summer work at a TV station and found out you guys work way too hard. That's why I didn't go into TV. But, but I learned more on the job, and same thing here. Learned more on the job than I ever did in a classroom.
Yep. I it's kind of crazy. And this is not a knock against USC or Florida or, any of the great journalism schools out there. But, I used to get the same thing, Chris. We would have interns every semester, at Wolo, and they would be like, I've learned more in the 3 months that I've interned here than, for some industries, it is like that. You just have to sort of, get thrown in the fire and, see if you can swim. I just mixed two analogies there, but I hope it was funny.
No, it actually worked out perfectly, and I'm glad you laid out your past history, because I think it's interesting for folks listening into Sports Talk getting to hear what we've all done growing up and getting into this business for sure. All right, 888-898-2525. If you'd like to join us, text messages welcome as well at 803-900-4847. They are always presented by our good friends at Larry Lucas State Farm Insurance. Larry's been taking care of people across the state for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today, or you can call 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there. Mike, the Learfield Director Cup's final standings came out today, and I know you'll be surprised that Stanford and Texas were not necessarily in that order. It was actually Texas, Stanford, and UCLA 1, 2, 3 in the Learfield standings.
Yeah, I was going to say, Texas winning the softball championship, right? And, God, what else? I mean, they made the College World Series this year. I'm sure a ton of different Olympic, champions. But they made the NCAA tournament as well. What else? They made the final.
They won women's rowing, it appears.
They made the Final Four in women's basketball, or did they not?
Yes.
Did they? They did, didn't they?
Yes.
They did, yes.
Yeah, that's who UCLA pounded in the semifinals.
That's right.
And then, of course, UCLA went on to pound the Gamecocks to follow in the championship game, so that's why they finished third. The Gamecocks, by the way, in case you're curious, our 2 in-state teams, Clemson finishing 42nd, South Carolina finishing 44th. So considering you're dealing with, 100 and let's see how many they rank. 254th, 299. They rank almost 300 programs at the Division I level. That's not bad. Well inside the, what would that be? Top 85 percentile, I guess. We were talking about the SAT the other night, so somewhere in that neighborhood. So not bad for the Gamecocks nor the Tigers.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Gotta get got to get back to some winning ways in football and basketball. I mean, that's what people care about, and baseball, obviously. That's what that's what people care about. I learned that a long time ago. Not that it's a part of Colonel Sanders' secret recipe or anything. People know that in order to be a successful SEC program, you've got to be good in football and basketball. But they got to get back to these winning ways, man.
Absolutely. On the men's side, they are not a good year this past season for sure. All right, plenty more news and notes as we'll sprinkle those in as we move through the program. Recruiting information coming up. Kelvin Millington, as you heard a few minutes ago, officially announcing for the Gamecocks. Take a time out. When we come back, we'll shift gears, talk some American Legion baseball. It's time for the rundown with Chris Dorsey at Post 215, and we'll do that next.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Today's weather, 79 degrees, climbing up toward 90 later in the afternoon. Cloudy all day, but no chance of precipitation in the forecast for today. There will be rain tomorrow, Friday, 50% chance with a high of 91, and on Saturday, a 45% chance of rain with a high of 94. I'm Casey Whitener with your On Point weather.
It might be tough to picture your kid in college today, but it'll be here before you know it. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to start saving right now. You can start with any amount. Savings grow tax-free, and friends and family can chip in too. Discover the smart, easy way to save today at FutureScholar.com. That's FutureScholar.com. That's FutureScholar.com.
The Point.
Florida with SRN News, I'm John Scott. Venezuelan migrants living in the U.S. rushing to send aid to family and friends stricken by devastating earthquakes in their home country that have killed at least 188. Local officials and advocates put out calls for donations in communities with large Venezuelan populations in states such as Florida and Texas. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announcing the closure of the temporary immigration center known as Alligator Alcatraz. The center was built in the Florida swamps last year. Federal officials say they no longer need the extra capacity to handle detention and deportation because they have more permanent facilities. Detroit Lions player Terrion Arnold charged in Tampa, Florida with leading a plot to detain and pistol whip 3 people whom he believed had stolen from him. The crimes could carry a sentence of up to life in prison. Arnold's lawyer says the NFL player denies the allegations. This is SRN News.
Business owners, if you're ready to grow your business, you can relax. With Founders Federal Credit Union, we mean business. When it comes to business loans, from equipment to expansion, our flexible financing can help fund real business growth. If you're considering a business loan, such as real estate, vehicles, equipment, or an unsecured loan or line of credit, our team is here to help. Our local experts will review your application, resulting in quick decisions and processing. And unlike most banks, we don't charge prepayment penalties. As always, from Founders, you can expect great rates and exceptional service along the way. Visit foundersfcu.com/business to learn more, or to get started, stop by an office near you or give us a call. 800-845-1614. That's 800-845-1614. Membership qualification required. Institution NMLS. Identifier number 410646. Equal housing lender. Rates, terms, and conditions are subject to change. Loans are subject to credit evaluation and underwriting requirements.
South Carolina summers are hot and humid and hard on your air conditioner. When your home stops feeling comfortable, call Sweet Comfort Services. We're family owned and operated with over 30 years of heating and air experience. From service and maintenance to complete system replacement, we're here to keep your family cool. We'll even meet or beat any quote from a licensed competitor. Schedule your appointment online at sweethvac.com or call 803-331-8143. Sweet Comfort Services, comfort you can count on.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Is there anything Albert, my AI financial assistant, can't do? Albert, can you create a financial plan just for me?
Yes. I've reviewed your accounts, income, and spending. Here's your plan and a few suggestions.
Great. Any savings I'm missing out on?
I reorganized your budget and found an extra $500 this month. Would you like me to transfer that to your savings?
Sure.
Done.
Oh, I'm thinking about moving. Can you get me more cash?
Albert can get you a loan up to $10,000 fast. How does that sound?
Sounds perfect. Looks like Albert really can do everything.
Download the Albert app and use promo code DEPOSIT to try Genius, your AI financial assistant, and get up to $10,000. Just download the Albert app and use promo code DEPOSIT to try Genius and get up to $10,000. Promo code DEPOSIT.
The Heart Huddle initiative is bringing life-saving heart health resources to our community, equipping public spaces, first responders, and strengthening emergency readiness across Columbia. We're calling on local businesses, organizations, and community leaders to step up. Your support can place critical equipment where it's needed most and ensure more people are ready when every second counts. Donate today to make an impact. Visit columbiasc.gov to learn how your organization can partner with Heart Huddle today.
Big Thursday edition of Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Chris Bergen, Josh Cohen, and our special guest host tonight, Mike Gillespie. Hopefully not for the long time. Yeah, we're going to have to keep Mike around for a good bit because he's good at what he does, and we're thrilled to have him helping us out. I beg your pardon?
Are you a Seinfeld fan?
I was not. No. Sorry.
Josh, are you a Seinfeld? You're young. You're like.
Well, I've watched my dad watch it.
Fetus.
I've watched my dad watch it for many years, but
oh my goodness.
And that in turn makes me not like it. If you get what I'm saying, you
Where's
ever watch?
You
ever watch something so much you don't like it anymore? Yeah.
Yes. It's 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star Trek: The Next Generation was mine. That my dad loved, and I did too when I was like a kid. But now I can't. Like if it comes on, like wherever, I'm just like absolutely not. I can't stand it.
I know not to get into an argument with folks who like Seinfeld and tell them why I do not like Seinfeld. I never thought Jerry Seinfeld was funny. I really did.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I never liked his humor, but so I'm smart enough. It's like politics. If you know the person you're chatting with is on the other side of the aisle, you just never bring it up. Same thing here. Seinfeld is one of those sitcoms that falls into that category.
Yes. I know a few people that don't like Seinfeld, but most of them are now incarcerated. They're we keep them behind bars.
I understand.
They're at a zoo somewhere. No, I'm totally kidding. I
totally get it. No offense taken. I'm weird. Trust me. Let's find out if Chris Dorsey is a Seinfeld fan. Of course, Chris relaunching American Legion Baseball at Richland Post 215 back in 2022 after a 10-year absence. Played collegiately under Gary Gilmore when Coach Gilly was at USC Aiken. He was in the Mets organization as well. He's now the head coach for the senior team and actually oversees 6 teams as the organization's GM. Time now for the rundown presented by the Big Red Box Company. Like Sports Talk, Big Red Box dumpsters cover the state. Big Red Box containers have convenient swinging doors on the back for easy loading. Make your dumpster rental simple by calling Big Red Box at 803-783-6834, or you can Google Big Red Box Dumpster Company as we say hello to Chris Dorsey. And Coach, evidently the key question tonight, are you a Seinfeld fan?
Yeah, I mean, I when it first came out, I wasn't a Seinfeld fan, but over the last couple of years, I've actually watched the entire episode, and I like it. Yeah.
Thank you.
See, I can fall into that category too, Chris and Mike, because I have grown to appreciate MASH and the Beatles and different things like that over the years, where when they were initially out, I didn't like them. But it's changed. I guess your tastes change as you get older, right, Coach?
Absolutely. I mean, I just finished Cheers. I've ran. I didn't watch Cheers. I watched it some, but got it when I was a kid, but really didn't understand it. And then I've watched 2.5 Men. I've watched all these shows now at 50 something. It gives me a new appreciation.
Chris, you're giving me a really, really good. You gave me 2 really good ideas. My wife and I are actually going back and watching these like classic sitcoms. So Cheers is on the list. And what was the other one you said?
Two and a Half Men. Is my favorite.
Two and a Half Men. Before Charlie Sheen.
Before Charlie died,
went
exactly.
off the rails. Yeah.
Yeah, I quit watching once Charlie went off. It's a 5-star. It's a 5-star show, man. You got to watch that.
Nice.
This is something. This is my wife. My wife likes to go to bed with the TV on, and so we started watching those shows. Literally, I watched the whole thing of All in the Family about a 6 month. Yeah,
Mike and Chris, I'll give you a chance. It's an app. It's an app actually you can get for your television if you stream Pluto TV. They run all the old school TV shows.
I've got that. I've got them all, man. I spend more money on my TV package than most people do. I mean, it's crazy. But we're sitting over here. I mean, I'm about to go. I got about 10 minutes, and before I got to go give this lineup out. But I can tell you this: we're over here at Post 15 tonight at historic Riley Park, and for anybody that hadn't gotten out in a while to Riley Park, you got to come see it. The renovations that they did a couple of years ago have really matured and seasoned in. The place is just the perfect setting for American Legion baseball, and thank goodness this year we'll be having the state championship tournament here as well.
Well, tell us a little bit about the P15s, because this is a real big week for your team, isn't it? Because you guys are going to play, if I'm not mistaken, 3 consecutive games, and right now you guys are neck and neck in the Midlands division.
Yeah, we're 4-1. They're 4-2. I mean, we played 12 games, so we're not even at the halfway point yet. Mm-hmm. So these are all big games. You got to finish top 3 in the league to make the playoffs. Right now, we're sitting at first. They're second, but Sumter's always good. I mean, they take Legion so serious. All the best players play American Legion. It's a status symbol to do that around here. They've got a great pitcher going tonight in Marion Davis, who's going to Flodar next year. He's a Sumter kid, just really knows how to pitch, and they've just always got a lot of talent on their team, and the fans come out here and support it too. The outfield grass is like the Augusta Masters right now. The infield looks like a big league park, and man, it's just really nice. We went up and played 3 games at the American Legion World Series in Shelby, North Carolina this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So we played 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. And then we had a few days off, and now we're playing Thursday. And then next week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we play again, and we'll take a little time for the 4th of July. So, yes, big week. And, pitching is at a premium right now. We have to, when you play 3 games in 2 days or 3 games in 3 days, you got to have a lot of arms, because I hate to throw guys, a lot of pitches. And this weekend we had to, and I don't like that. So we've added a couple arms to the program this week. And so we actually had an injury on a guy go down. It was terrible, and he's out for the year. You just improvise, adapt, overcome, and we're going to play with. We got a good team, but we got a couple pitchers that we just called up that they're going to have to show me something here soon.
Yeah, no doubt. Chris, I want to ask you this. Monty Lee was on the program a couple weeks back, I believe, or maybe it was last week. I can't remember. Josh, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on that. But
you're in the ballpark.
Yeah, there we go. So Monty was saying something really interesting, and because Chris, you work primarily with seniors, I wanted to ask you this. Phil, basically asked him straight up, why did USC struggle so much this year? And he said, well, I think, now the idea is to recruit, kids, at a young age, get them in as freshmen instead of trying to do this thing through the portal. And have those kids kind of grow up together. Do you think that's the best way to build a team now? And I ask you this because you're around, these, 17, 18-year-old kids all the time. Like, is that you think the best way to build a collegiate baseball team now?
I think you got to do it both ways, and I think Kevin Stahl nailed it. I mean, you got to go get some high school seniors that are coming into your program and develop them, but you can't win with high school seniors. You can't win with high school seniors anymore, just because you're getting too many proven guys. I mean, look at the portal. Is just my son plays NAIA baseball, and I watch a lot of Division II games. I mean, I'm going to take a Division II superstar that's put up, like Charlie Bussey in Florence. I mean, a guy like that. If you can get guys like that, there's a high school senior can't compete with that. But you also have to have the high school seniors coming in that are developing a little bit, and you got to kind of sell them that you got to have some patience. The big problem with kids today, they don't have patience, because why would you have patience when, you can go play. If you don't like one team, you just go on the other travel ball team. If you don't like that team, you just skip and go. Your parents say, "Oh, they're screwing me over. I'm going to go play on this team. I'm going to play on that team." That's why I like American Legion. Is do we have any players on our team that could play for South Carolina? Probably not. Maybe one or two, but they would have to go, and they're going. One of them's going to Division II. The other one's going to College of Charleston. They'd have to put up some numbers, and they're going to the right place. I like where they're going, and I got about 10 guys on my team that are going to Division II and JUCOs. And I'm really selling the JUCOs. Like the USC Thumper coach will be here tonight. Yeah, one of our former players, Carew Bates, is a perfect example. He went to College of Charleston out of high school, kind of got lost in the shuffle his freshman year, got injured, came back to USC Sumter, hit 20-something home runs this year. Now he's going back to College of Charleston on a full scholarship, and he's probably going to be in the starting lineup immediately. And so he's a proven guy. So to answer the long story of that is I want to get both. I want to have some guys that I'm developing, the Will Craddocks of the world, guys that can really play at that level. I wish Bo Hollins would have been. I wish he would have. I liked Bo out of high school a lot. I think the coaching situation got a little sideways, but guys like that you've got to bring in, develop, but you got to plug these holes in with grown men.
Chris Dorsey with us here tonight. It's our American Legion baseball update presented by the Big Red Box Dumpsters and Roll-Off Containers. Yeah, we're here, Coach. You got us? Hello, Chris.
Hey, Chris. You still got us?
Dropped off.
Uh-oh. Darn.
Oh, no.
It may be his time to
good stuff.
give in the lineup. I'm not sure.
It
might be.
Yeah.
They just cut his phone off.
I think is this Chris that just called back in?
Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know where I lost you guys. I don't know where I lost you. I went on a rant.
No, you're good. We actually got the rants. Yeah, we heard all the rant. We're just resetting with you, and we'll let you go here in just a second. We know you've got a game coming up. Wanted to get your take on Camden's team. Post-17, they look like they're slowly starting to separate themselves at least a little bit, playing some really good baseball so far. What do you know about their club?
Their lineup is totally stacked. I mean, they've got Maverick Grisby was all peach belt at USC Aiken. You can come back in Legion and play after your freshman year, and that shows you a lot about the coach over there. Is he's able to go back and get guys like Grigsby that could have easily played it for the Blowfish or whoever else he wanted to, and he chose to play for Camden. They've got just dude after dude in their lineup. I don't know much about their pitching. But I know that if I was to be just perfectly honest with you, I don't think there's a better lineup offensively in the state than them. Florence. We went up to Florence. We ran into Florence last week up at Shelby. By the way, the South Carolina Legion teams won 7 games, and the North Carolina won 2 in the North Carolina South Carolina Challenge. So we won that tournament. We went 2-1, and Florence went 3-0. Florence is Florence. They've got a huge territory to choose from, and they get great players every year. So, there's other teams out there that you just don't quite know about that are forming. And, I don't know all those teams, but the usual suspects are Camden and Florence and us. Mm-hmm. And we've kind of earned the right to be up there. We've gone to 3 out of 4 state championship tournaments, 1 last year. So, we've got a little right to brag on that and be in the same category as the rest of those guys.
Big matchup tonight in Sumter's, the P-15s
boys, I'm getting called up here to go give out the lineup.
All right, Coach.
Go,
Good
sir.
luck.
Go.
We'll talk to you next week. That is Chris Dorsey of Richmond Post 215 getting ready to take on the Sumter P-15s. It's kind of fun, Mike. You get to talk to a coach. You want to talk about last-second adjustments. We literally get them 10 minutes before game time.
Yeah, for sure. And, I love that he's so nonchalant about it, too. It's like, let me go do a radio hit and fill out my lineup card and okay, now I got to go coach this game. See you guys.
Yeah, I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, very, very cool.
A funny story. He met his team for this year last, it was like an hour before game time. They met at the bus, and they all drove to wherever the game was. I can't recall where it was, but he told us this. He met the team for the first time. He met all the players at the bus, I guess, where they were meeting to drive, and they drove to the game, and they played that game that night.
Oh, wow. That's
no,
awesome.
No practice, nothing.
Yeah, just let's go play. Let's roll the balls out and see what we've got. And they've got a pretty good team at Richland Post 215. That, of course, the rundown brought to you by our good friends at the Big Red Box Dumpster Company. The rundown presented by them, like Sports Talk, Big Red Box Dumpsters cover the states. Give them a call at 803-783-6834. Just Google Big Red Box Dumpster Company. We'll come back and might get you some recruiting. Maybe do that next. Get Mike's first exposure to recruiting.
Hi, I'm attorney Jim Corbett. For over 35 years, I've been handling claims and cases for individuals and small businesses. I've now been a mediator for more than 10 years. Let me put that experience to work for you. Like if you're injured in a wreck or on the job or at someone else's place, anytime you should get reimbursed or compensated. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968 or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Corbett with an E, and the initial consultation is free. Jim Corbett to settle your claims, avoid a lawsuit, or go to trial.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
Looking for a new car? You need to think about a Kia. If you're in the market for an SUV, consider the new Kia Telluride or the new Kia Sorento. They're big, they're strong, and loaded with tech for thousands less than Honda or Toyota. You'll see the difference right away, and you get double the warranty. Plus, you get the JT's Advantage million-mile warranty and about 1,000 other things you have to see to believe. If you want the biggest bang for your buck, it's time to think about a new JT's Kia. We're serious about saving you money.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Oh, yeah, time for a little recruiting here on Sports Talk, presented by our good friends over at Seawell's. The daily luncheon buffet, the best in the business, from 11 until 2, Tuesdays through Friday. And if you didn't go today, shame on you, Josh, because they missed a roast beef Thursday.
It was a roast beef Thursday, and honestly, I don't eat fish very much, but baked flounder fillets with mango relish sounds pretty good.
Sounds delicious.
I will tell you tomorrow.
All right, what do we have tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow, carved turkey with cornbread dressing, hamburger steak with onions, teriyaki glazed salmon, and southern fried chicken. Of course, we also have a whole dessert list.
Stop this. Stop it. We have to go until 8.
Mike, have you had dinner yet?
I don't have anything to eat in this office.
You're supposed to eat before the show. Yeah, that's where.
See, that's what you learn, Mike.
That's true. I'm a
rookie mistake.
I'm a rookie.
Rookie mistake.
Yes.
You eat at about 5:15, and so that way you're stuffed by the time we get to the daily luncheon buffet menu. I am sure, though, you being a Columbia native, or at least a Columbia area resident, you have eaten and partaken of Seawell's, have you not?
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And then, the pregame meals for the media provided by Seawell's. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Used to live off that stuff when I first got here. Free food I'll take it.
Got
as a weekend
indoctrinated
sports guy, I
correctly.
was making as a weekend sports guy, I think I was making 4 cents every 2 hours. I think is what they paid me.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, that's a nice wage. I don't even get that. So,
yeah, you're free. You actually pay us, I think.
Judging by how many hours he works compared to the wage he earns, that's probably correct. He actually may end up having to repay the Sports Talk Media Network. All right, anyway, but check out the daily lunch and buffet at Seawell's tomorrow. And, of course, as we are into summertime, summer parties, July 4th, right around the corner. You've got a wedding coming up. You need the best in the catering. That's Seawell's as well. They've been around forever, been around since 1946. You don't stay in the restaurant business that long if you don't know what you're doing. Seawell's certainly does. And they present our recruiting report. As you heard a little while ago, momentum continues to build for the South Carolina football recruiting class. Earlier this evening, cornerback Kelvin Millington of Bogart, Georgia, announced his commitment to the Gamecocks while attending the opening finals out in Beaverton, Oregon. He gives the Gamecocks 4 commitments over the last 8 days, and 4 more of their top targets will be making announcements between Sunday and next Friday. Millington's only official visit was to USC, so he'd pretty much turned his attention towards the Gamecocks over the past few weeks. Some of his other offers were Wake Forest, Cincinnati, East Carolina, Navy, Pitt, Georgia Tech, and also Coastal Carolina. He and Gamecock secondary coach Torian Gray developed a very strong relationship that could not be rattled by other recruiters. Quote, "He really liked my length and my speed." Millington said he was also showing me clips of the corners playing press jam. He would say, "See right here, this is where you would play as a corner in our program." He also showed me the development process from taking one of the players who wasn't that good when they first arrived to developing him. Millington gives Gray a very tall defender to move around in his secondary. He is 6'4", 185. He's going to play me at corner at first, he says, and then I'm going to have to prove to them that I'm not going to be able to play corner, and they'll be like, "All right, sweet, we can move you to safety or nickel," Millington said. Or if the corner depth is really long, they have like 5 to 8 corners, and I won't see the field, but at safety, if I'm better than who's ever at safety, they'll move me to safety. So clearly this young man's got some confidence and a solid player as well. 62 tackles, 14 pass breakups, and 3 picks last season. He gives the Gamecocks 12 commitments, 2 now on the defensive side. They might get another one. Defensive end Josiah Sturdivant of Wake Forest, North Carolina, probably thought his recruiting days were over when he committed to Rutgers way back in late May. If so, he could not have been, and Phil put in more wrong, but he could not have been wrong. It's certainly not wronger. So yeah, more wrong. Works. Rutgers was the only P4 offer for Sturdivant at the time of his commitment. NC State was next to step up with an offer on June 18th. 4 days later, it was South Carolina jumping on board, and things really heated up from there, because on Wednesday he got offers from Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. While he continues to maintain his commitment to the Scarlet Knights, Sturdivant can't overlook the interest he is now garnering from others. With the Gamecocks, it started with his performance in a camp earlier this month. About 2 or 3 months ago, the recruiting coach, Sterling Harris, reached out. Sturdivant said he wanted me to come down for camp. Then he called again and said he wanted me to come down for a camp. So really wanted to get after him. And then Coach Deion Barnes called. Since they showed that they have had a good amount of interest, I just went down for the camp. I just went out there and did my thing. As you know, I'm committed to Rutgers. As of right now, full head of steam on Rutgers. I think South Carolina is a great offer to have, but Rutgers is home. I'm not shutting it down as of now, but I'm not doing any OVs. Rutgers has been his only official visit to this point. The camp visit to Columbia was the first time he was on the USC campus last season. 51 tackles, 18.5 tackles for loss, and also 8 sacks. South Carolina target safety Davion Jones announced on Instagram this morning that he has moved up his commitment date from July the 26th to July 2nd. He has as finalists USC, LSU, Georgia, Auburn, and Indiana. South Carolina offered 2028 defensive end Tristan Henderson of Pensacola, Florida. Clemson has offered 2028 defensive lineman Dawson Jacobs of Roswell, Georgia. Clemson target 2028 linebacker Jay Shell of Raven Gap, Georgia, was offered by Arkansas and Mississippi State. South Carolina target 2028 cornerback Zion Dobson has been offered by Tennessee. In baseball news, free agent right-handed pitcher Jordan Stevens of Georgia is headed to South Carolina. In 18 innings this season, he was 1-0 with a 7.85 ERA. He struck out 18 and walked 12. In 2025, Stevens was 4-0 with 3 saves and a 3.92 ERA. That year, he struck out 27 and walked 19. And Clemson has landed free agent catcher Isaac Cadena from Southern Cal. He hit .294 with 8 home runs and 36 RBIs this past season. He has also played for Ohio State and TCU. And that is Mike Gillespie, tonight's edition of Recruiting, presented by Sports Talk and Seawells.
Immediate thoughts, Mike. What are your immediate thoughts?
Immediate thoughts. I'm sorry. I thought we were going to break for a second.
We are.
Listen, I love Kelvin Millington. Reminds me a lot of Nick Emanwari, just the size, right? And Emanwari,
hang on
a lot of people forget this.
We'll be back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. We're just 9 days out from America 250 celebrations on the 4th of July, and gasoline prices are coming down a bit ahead of the massive holiday travel getaway. Correspondent Laura Winters with a report.
AAA estimates more than 72 million Americans will be on the move ahead of America 250 4th of July celebrations taking place in every state. As for getting there, 4.9 million will take a train or bus, 5.9 million are scheduled to fly, and more than 61 million expected to drive. Which leads us to the price of gas. Regular unleaded on average down to $3.92 a gallon. That's down from an average of $4.51 a gallon a month ago. Laura Winters reporting.
Venezuelans searching for survivors beneath collapsed buildings and rescue teams racing to the areas hardest hit by a pair of powerful earthquakes that rocked northern Venezuela, killing at least 188 people, trapping more than 200. The 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude earthquakes that hit Wednesday evening were among the strongest in Venezuela in more than a century. Meanwhile, federal officials, they're moving quickly.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the United States is mobilizing to assist Venezuela following a devastating earthquake.
We're already deploying search and rescue teams from Fairfax County, Virginia, and Los Angeles. There'll be some others we'll add. That's their most immediate need right now is search and rescue efforts. They have a bunch of collapsed buildings, and so they'll need a lot of help in terms of digging through that.
More U.S. help is expected as recovery efforts continue. Willie Nelson, the White House.
The U.S. economy expanding at a solid and unexpected 2.1% annual pace from January through March. That's according to the Commerce Department. In its final estimate of first quarter growth, the growth in gross domestic product marked a rebound from a sluggish 0.5% in the last 3 months of 2025. More from townhall.com.
What if everything you thought you knew about online exploitation was only the surface? The shocking docuseries, Sexploited, rips the veil off the digital darkness, destroying lives. You'll be stunned by what's uncovered in these real stories. Watch the trailers, if you dare. Once you see it, you'll understand why silence is no longer an option. Visit salemnow.com and watch Sexploited in America. And visit sexploitedfilm.com.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
Mortgage rates have inched up.
Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says the average rate on a 30-year mortgage rose this week to 6.49%. The average rate has been hovering around 6.5% over the past 6 weeks. Mortgage rates have been mostly trending higher since late February as the war with Iran drove up oil prices and expectations for higher inflation. That pushed up the long-term bond yields that lenders use as a guide to pricing home loans. While average long-term mortgage rates remain lower than they were this time last year, their upward trend has weighed on home sales this year. I'm Alex Vega.
Apple announcing an increase in prices for Macs and iPads, citing a memory chip shortage brought on by artificial intelligence. The Cupertino, California-based company calling the demand spike an unprecedented challenge for the consumer electronics industry. Analysts expect iPhone prices to rise later this year. News at townhall.com.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Today's weather, 79 degrees, climbing up toward 90 later in the afternoon. Cloudy all day, but no chance of precipitation in the forecast for today. There will be rain tomorrow, Friday, 50% chance with a high of 91, and on Saturday, a 45% chance of rain with a high of 94. I'm Casey Whitener with your On Point weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com. Press that button, home stew.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
And yes, indeed, we are. It's hour 2 on a big Thursday all across the state of South Carolina. Glad to have you along for the ride home here this evening on this Thursday night edition of Sports Talk Media Network. Chris Bergen here in our Sardis PD area studios. Meantime, back home in Columbia, Josh Cohen ready to line you up on the phone lines at 888-898-2525. And it's a big pleasure for us to have with us Mike Gillespie on as well, joining us tonight as one of our co-hosts as we fill in for Phil Kornblut, who will be back from vacation next Monday. And then Josh, if I'm not mistaken, then Phil, about 2 weeks from now, is going to take another vacation.
Well, I believe that's true, but I think before that, he has to go down to, is it Tampa for the SEC Media Days?
Okay, so it's SEC Media Days and then vacation.
Yes, and I believe Mike's going to be down there with him, and the tag team in the SEC Media Days.
Very cool.
Toes will be in the sand 3 out of those 4 days.
I do not blame you. See, Phil will not get that luxury. You going down just to cover maybe Carolina and some of the other teams.
That's right.
Phil is down there. We send him down there to cover every single team and every single coach. So he doesn't get that luxury. He's going to work.
He's working. He's working for sure.
All right, if you missed the first hour of the program, speaking of South Carolina, they got a commitment from Kelvin Millington. He is a cornerback out of Bogart, Georgia, and a young man that Mike actually compared to Nicky Manwari. So if he turns out to be that talented, Mike, he's going to be a good pickup, I think, for USC.
Yeah, absolutely, and no question. 6'3", and Manwari played linebacker in high school at Irmo, and a lot of people forget that, and he was trying to figure out where he wanted to play his freshman year at USC, either, if he wanted to be a kind of a safety or if he wanted to be a linebacker, but I'd say it worked out.
Yes.
Worked out okay.
Without a doubt. So another one in the coffers for the Gamecocks. You can read all the recruiting info and the story about him committing up on our newly designed by the plumber himself website at SportsTalkSC.com. All right, we'll talk some Gamecock football a little bit later on in the program, but we've got a very special guest who had a remarkable season this year. And Mike, you were able to line this up for us with Skylar Mead, so I'll let you take it into visiting with Coach here.
Yeah, Skylar, thank you so much. I know I texted you. It seemed like seems like it was 2 minutes ago, but you were so gracious to get right back to me and say, sure, what time? And absolutely love it, man. First of all, how are you and where are you today?
I am. Well, it's funny. I'm glad the rain stopped. I'm in Troy. I was walking circles. I'm at 24,000 steps today. This is what happens when you're in the portal. You just walk and talk. And my 2 kids were swimming, and then the storm hit. And my wife said, "You grab the food. Since you got radio, I'll get the kids." And so I'm circling the mean streets of Troy right now, and we're just saddled up for some visits this weekend, and whatever else is next, running around on the road. What a summer is for all of baseball coaches.
Absolutely, and you took down one of the best baseball coaches and my alma mater in the Florida Gators. In the regional round. I tell you, Skylar, I'm a pretty big Florida fan, and it was, and this just speaks to you as a human and your character. I was torn in those 2 games, man. It was for me as a fan. It was like I can't really lose either way because Skylar is such a wonderful human being. Florida being the alma mater, I'm wondering what's going through your head when you've got to take down Florida in Gainesville twice, or your team is going home.
Well, it's funny. You try to sometimes, people have asked me a lot since this whole, just our season, our run, whatever you want to call it, maybe all of the above. And they're like, hey, like, how does it feel? And sometimes you kind of forget. Hindsight's always interesting. Like, we beat Miami on the Sunday mid-morning, midday game, whatever you want to say. And, beating Miami's a big deal. We beat a lot of really good teams in my time. But, like, the way we did it, the fight was pretty impressive. So, you're like, okay, well, we got to beat Florida. And I'm going to be honest with you, after the fact, is like we devoted all of our effort to Miami. It was like, all right, we get to Florida. Like, I kind of know what we're going to do, and we're going to have to just live with that. And fortunately, we played a great game, kind of dominated the game. I know people might go 16-11. It was 16-5, and it was, baseball is never over. Our sport does not have a shot clock, but it was kind of like, okay, so when you win that game, you're like, wow, like, all right, we played it's about as good a game as you can have, and so then you prepare, and we were certainly the profile game that next night, and we played our most exquisite game of the year and won 10-2, and it was crazy that you could play Florida at Florida with their fans. It was packed out, and you go, we owned it. And that's a credit to our players. It's a credit to our culture. But I obviously didn't think we would win a regional final 10-2 at Florida. I'm very confident, but I would not have said, if you guys had me on before, hey, what do you think's going to happen today? Well, we're going to win 10-2 and 2. It's going to be pretty easy on the south side. It's just not what you think, but I was certainly a fan of it. And but to what a lot of people I think know, you beat Miami and Florida 2 times back to back at their home in front of about 7,500 people in the span of 28 hours. That is about as hard a pathway as there is. So we certainly earned our way to a super and certainly beyond.
Skylar Mead with us here tonight, head baseball coach at Troy University. Of course, they made it to the College World Series, as Mike laid out, having to run through the Florida Gators and the Miami Hurricanes in the process. We'll talk about Skylar's time at USC and maybe what he thinks about Kevin Snall moving from the Sun Belt into the SEC in just a couple of moments. But, Coach, speaking of the Sun Belt, we've obviously seen here in the state what Coastal Carolina has done over the years. We know how strong now your program is, certainly what Southern Miss and Louisiana have done. Do you feel like you guys getting to the College World Series sort of validates how good a conference the Sun Belt is?
I'll answer that 2 ways. For us, it validates because I know I've been a thorn in the NCAA side last couple of years because, our program has honestly encountered some disrespect. We've won a lot of games here. I know people can Google. We've been in a good spot, and we were kind of unfairly punished in 25, so I know I've been the Pied Piper of annoying the NCAA, but this does validate my point. I'm not saying we would have went to Omaha in 24 or 25. I have no idea, but I can tell you this: we were worthy of getting in the fight. So it is validating for us. But in terms of the question as it pertains to the Sun Belt, I mean, the league is really good. Look, South Carolina's in it. I lived it the previous 4 years before becoming the head coach of Troy. This SEC is the best. No one's going to disagree. Look at the body of work of the league. Look at the national champions. I know what the SEC is, but our league is not G5. It's a power league. And you allude to what Coastal's done historically, but also just in 25, winning it all in 16. I mean, they're a big dog. Southern Miss, Louisiana. I mean, you can go down the list. I mean, South Alabama's been in like 29 regionals. You just go through the league, and now we get Louisiana Tech, who's a brand. It's big boy baseball. And so the way I look at it is this. When our league has really good teams who put themselves in positions, they have to be rewarded. And I think we're proving that. And, listen, you're always going to fight to what is a good fight for you. I just don't think sometimes certain teams need to be rewarded when the metrics and the eye tests don't match up just because they're in a great league. I know that may offend people, but I coach at Troy, so I have to fight for us. And I've always fought for us. And thankfully our fight and our continued success allowed us to do what we did this year and really what we've done in our 5 years.
Got no problem with that point of view, Coach. Skylar Meade with us here tonight on Sports Talk. All right, we've talked a lot this week, Coach, about Dusty May, the former men's basketball coach in Michigan, leaving. And one of the reasons he wanted to go to the NBA is he cited as soon as the national championship game was over, he was already starting to worry about the transfer portal and whether or not to keep his players and who he needed to go get for next season, and just didn't seem like there was any time to enjoy it. How quickly did that process start for you when you guys got eliminated out in Omaha?
I don't know, about 8 minutes after. You know what? I'll give you guys. I've done a lot of these, and I'm sure anyone that's followed us has realized that I am overtly transparent, and I kind of speak. There was a kid who had the audacity to text us in the 6th inning. It's a 2-0 game. We're losing to West Virginia, which ended up being our last game. And there was a kid that had the audacity to text us that he was no longer interested in us. I guess because we were down 2-0 to West Virginia. I don't quite know. So the recruiting never stops. And I think that point that Dusty, and he's not the only one. I mean, look what happened to LSU this year, right? They, obviously they had their struggle this year, but they've won 2 of the last 4 now national champions. So they're pretty awesome. And, they had a rough year. And is it because you play longer and you get behind in the portal? It's not easy to do out there, but my goodness, you want to talk about first world problems? The fact that I remember the morning that same Tuesday during what became our final game, I saw Coach Saban's. I'm walking, through a block. I can see this little kids pavilion, and I see him walking on the phone, and I'm like, I guess both of us are probably on the phone with kids in the portal, and it's just what you do. And it's the difference between what college sports is now and what pro sports is, and whether it be Tony V or what Dusty is doing now. There's different things there, but there's also different pitfalls. And in the end, I mean, you have to be adaptable. I mean, look, we can all have our beliefs on the portal and players getting money and all the things that obviously people have vast opinions on. But I get to coach college baseball. I get to have a mic in front of me a lot. Like, I'm afforded a lot of cool things for my job, so I'm not going to complain that maybe we don't get to enjoy the fruits of our labor as long. We get some downtime in December, so YouTube never goes away. The videos don't go away. If we need to reminisce, we'll be able to do it. And there'll be a time for that. Mm-hmm. There absolutely will be, but today is not that time as we sit here on – now, here's the problem. I don't know if it's June 24th. I don't know if it's June 25th. I don't really know where we are. But I know that my wife's requested I pick up Taco Bell for the kids tonight, and nice. I'll sleep in my bed in Troy,
That's a chalupas or regular tacos, or what's the menu option for the kids?
My 7-year-old hates cheese, so it's plain taco. My 10-year-old likes cheese, so it's cheese roll-ups and a taco. And I got to tell you, tonight for me, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Normally it's a chicken quesadilla, but this Taco Bell here in Troy they've been kind of skimping on the chicken, so I'm going to have to maybe pivot out of that.
Hey, we got to get on the folks in Troy, Alabama. Make sure this is corrected for Coach Skylar Meade, head coach of the Trojans, with us. His last stop prior to taking over at Troy, of course, was pitching coach at South Carolina. And Coach, what did you learn during your 3 years at USC that may help you sort of mold into the head coach that you are now? Or what things did you take away from the Gamecocks that you've applied to your team? And maybe what things did you not take away from the Gamecocks that you've been able to mix into your squad?
Well, I think number one, I think the one that anyone knows, when you get to experience the SEC, you do realize, as the old saying goes, it's just different. It is, and that's a great thing. So I think all that comes with that, with the fans and the media, and sometimes hey, you got to be a big boy. People don't like you today because your team didn't do well, or obviously for me as a pitching guy, if we lose 2-1 or 10-1, I'm still an idiot. So you got to handle that. But I think that's a good thing, right? Listen, I was an assistant for 14 years, so I don't know what it's like to be a head coach, and I think that prepares you. So I feel like South Carolina prepared me for that. I think you get to be around the best of the best players, and you realize some of the characteristics that allow guys to maybe accentuate their game, but you also realize they don't have to be the PG top 40 All-American to end up being a first rounder or an All-American or a dude. And so the way we've recruited at Troy and some of the edges that I think we've been afforded, whether it be portal, JUCO, or high school, I've taken from that. And then you just pay attention. Look, I've worked for 4 head coaches, Coach Kingston being obviously the last, Jake Boss for him, Jim McGuire, and Jimmy Schmitz. You take things and you realize, you're just accruing information. And, I always tell our assistants, I'm not ever saying that you should agree. In fact, you should probably never agree with 100% of what someone says. But if you learn how to communicate, you learn how to articulate things that you don't like, and you can present and talk and discuss and come to understandings. I think that's a huge key. And I think I really learned that a lot during my South Carolina time. And obviously, I got to make great friends too. I talked to Coach Kingston. He called me yesterday. Coach Current, wife and kids were hanging out with my wife in Omaha. All these, Stuart Lay, Billy Anderson, those guys I talk to all the time. I talked to Billy 2 days ago. Those people are the best. They're actual friends. And so I think you just realize all that chaos, all those things, but you still have to have a great culture. You still have to build relationships. And if you do that, the winning is going to take care of itself. Now, having Jimmy Janikis and Blake Covels and, Ben Stubbs for us, that helps too, but you've got to have good kids and you've got to have a great culture.
Skylar, obviously, you know what's going on at USC, and your old boss, Mark Kingston, was let go a couple years back, and they bring in Paul Maneri, which that experiment lasted for, seemed like it was 14 days. It was a little over a year, I think, but he didn't even get 2 full seasons, and now, USC goes out and hires Kevin Schnall from, Coastal Carolina, right up the road. When you look at this USC program, this was once a blue blood of the sport, and they have fallen. And I'm wondering, what your take is on USC and how they get back to prominence. I know you've got enough to worry about at Troy, but for being a part of this program for the 4 years, where you served as the pitching coach, how does USC get back on the track and make it to Omaha again?
Well, it's certainly very hard to do. That is obviously it's the holy grail and it's incredibly difficult. But I think, first off, I know Kevin, having just obviously recruit around a lot of years together and different times. And then obviously getting to compete against him as when he's an assistant. And obviously I was at Troy and then, compete against him as a head coach. And then even just knowing a lot of his players, that they've had during his time there. You got the right guy for the job. First off, he's gonna be confident and convicted in what he does, and I heard him talk about it a little bit. Obviously, I haven't seen everything, but you see snippets, of course. And, I think one of the things is they're going to have the recruiting edge and acumen to, get those high school guys that, end up being the what kids want to play with, right? And I didn't steal this line. I won't say who said it to me, but there's a great SEC coach that he had a line to me, and I think this is part of answering your question. He says, look, being in the portal and being great in the portal is part of our job, and we all have to be great at it, whether it's Troy, Texas, South Carolina, Hawaii, or Maine. You got to be good in the portal. But how do you do that? You have to have studs in your program that kids want to come play with. Yep. And so getting the next great high school guy, which, let's be honest, there is an amazing history of great high school players that South Carolina has got, and South Carolina has had in the great state of South Carolina and obviously the surrounding states. As they go get those, which they're going to do, they're going to be able to accrue the best players in the country. And I feel it, I watch it. The support's gone nowhere in the state for South Carolina baseball. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is that as it gets rolling, which I really do believe Kevin and his group, and he's got, man, what a great pitching coach he's got. Matt, I know Matt was there before, but you talk about someone that's going to get these arms right. That guy's the real deal. And so that's already a cheat code that he has in his back pocket. And obviously the rest of his staff I know very well, so I'm certainly not disparaging them. Those guys are workers, they're killers. And I tell you, I think it's going to happen really fast. And I think Carolina fans are going to be real happy.
The head coach of the 8th-ranked team in the country, Division I baseball's final rankings, the Troy Trojans, Skylar Meade, with us here tonight, former pitching coach of South Carolina. Coach, we appreciate the time tonight. Really good info from you. It was great catching up with you. We enjoyed your team's run for sure, and congratulations on all the success, and best of luck continuing to keep Troy in the top 25.
Absolutely. I tell people now I'm a much bigger fan of Perfect Game and Baseball America because they had us 6 in the final poll, those darn D1 guys. So, no, you guys are the best. Thanks for having me on, and go Trojans.
Stop giving your hard-earned money to high interest rates. Founders Federal Credit Union delivers with credit card rates lower than the national average, with rates starting as low as 12.5% APR. That's way smarter than the over 20% APR rate the other guys are offering. Founders credit cards are reliable for all your needs, secure with MasterCard's ID theft protection and zero liability, and convenient with easy payments, loyalty points for rewards, and mobile access anytime through Founders Online. Experience the difference with Founders' lower cost, peace of mind, and effortless use. Take control of your finances right now. Visit foundersfcu.com/cc or an office near you to get your card today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
There's people that go their whole education without having an African-American teacher. So when I received my lottery-funded life scholarship, I knew I wanted to choose a school that had the Call Me Mr. program. Their mission is to recruit and retain teachers to be those role models for students in underserved areas. And that's what I want to do for my students.
More role models means a better South Carolina. And a better South Carolina means a better you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Effective training is not just about lifting heavier weight. It is about producing force with control. The Tsunami Bar was developed in 2012 to enhance high-intensity workouts while helping reduce joint stress. Its flexible design creates controlled oscillation, requiring your muscles to stabilize and work together throughout each movement. This promotes greater muscle activation, improved balance, and stronger functional performance. Tsunami Bar Sports is committed to continuous improvement, delivering dynamic training tools for individuals at every fitness level. Whether you are focused on long-term strength, injury prevention, or improving rotational stability for sports like golf, Tsunami Bar training supports total body performance. Discover more at tsunamibarsports.com. Visit tsunamibarsports.com. That's tsunamibarsports.com.
right, we are Sports Talk Media Network. Big thank you to Skylar Meade. I was telling the guys during the break, and Mike, I've never really heard Skylar talk all that much outside of an occasional press conference. That's a sharp young man, and my guess is, and nothing against Troy, but I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to hang on to him.
Yeah, they're not. Well, we'll just throw it out there. He's 41 in 5 years, I think, at Troy. He's now been to the NCAA tournament twice, and a College World Series appearance now. I think he's going to wind up in the SEC. I think that's where he wants to wind up. Any great baseball coach would. I wanted to ask him so bad, but he is a friend of mine, so I didn't really want to put him on the spot. But I was telling you guys off air, I really wanted to ask him if he received a call from Jeremiah Donati or anyone at USC, because you just never know with these things. But the timing, you got, the two of you and I were talking about this, off air. The timing of these things, it's always so important, and being in the College World Series may have, messed that up a little bit in a good way.
Yeah, I have no doubt that Carolina got the right guy in Kevin Snall, but I can say this: if that was a fallback option for them, Skylar Meade would not have been a bad choice. I don't think at all. All right, bottom of the hour break. We will come back plenty more. Remember the good old bad days for Gamecock football? We'll talk about them next.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Today's weather, 79 degrees, climbing up toward 90 later in the afternoon. Cloudy all day, but no chance of precipitation in the forecast for today. There will be rain tomorrow, Friday, 50% chance with a high of 91, and on Saturday, a 45% chance of rain with a high of 94. I'm Casey Whitener with your On Point weather.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
The Point.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The U.S. government dispatching a disaster response team to Venezuela after deadly earthquakes, while also providing $150 million to relief groups working there. The death toll now at 188, which is expected to rise. A top official of the National Park Service says a liner along the bottom of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool was cut with a sharp knife or razor this month, causing damage to the foam sealant installed as part of a $16 million rehabilitation project. In consumer news, Apple announcing an increase in prices for Macs and iPads, citing a memory chip shortage brought on by the artificial intelligence boom. The Cupertino, California-based company called the demand spike an unprecedented challenge for the consumer electronics industry. Analysts expect iPhone prices to rise later this year also. This is SRN News.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
When you've served the Midlands for more than 80 years, you're obviously doing something right. Groucho's Deli has 8 Midlands locations and for decades holds the title of Best Sandwich, best salad, best sweet tea, best fast lunch, best bang for your buck, best deli. Well, you get the idea. Order online at Grouchos.com and on the Grouchos app for fast, convenient, and friendly pickup. And sign up for the Grouchos Rewards and Birthday Brownie Club.
Insurance commercials are everywhere. The mascots, the catchy songs, it's a lot of noise. But when you have a question about your actual coverage, who do you call?
I'm David Jolly with South Carolina Insurance Brokers. I skip the gimmicks, focus on you and your needs. Whether it's your home, your car, your small business, I'm a local expert who's here to make sure that you're truly protected, not just sold.
Get the peace of mind you deserve from a neighbor you can trust.
Call me at 803-380-8877. I'm David Jolly. When you think of insurance, I ask that you think of me.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Rolling along on a big Thursday night here on Sports Talk Media Network. Don't forget tomorrow, Friday, we'll head into the weekend. Corn will be back next Monday, and then on vacation again, I think next Tuesday. So we'll at least enjoy a day or so with all seriousness. He'll be back with us next week. Looking forward to that as always. I'm sure he'll have plenty to catch up on and plenty of recruiting from the weekend on Monday. 888-898-2525. If you'd like to join us tonight, you can text us as well anytime at 803-900-4847. We would run down our weekly poll question, but since it's already finished, it's really not worth it. We'll come up with a new one for you over the weekend and get into that on Monday. Big thank you to Skylar Meade. That was a lot of fun, that conversation with him. And Mike, appreciate you lining that up with Coach. We'll have to have him back on maybe when they get entangled with Coastal Carolina again next spring.
Yeah, no, 100%, and have him back on when he's the head man at an SEC program or an ACC.
Yeah,
could be. He went to Louisville, so you never know how these things shake out. But he is tremendous. 41 years old. 2 NCAA tournament appearances now in I think 5 years, and now a College World Series under his belt. He's going to get a big time shot, pretty soon, I think.
All right, so that was the good stuff with what Troy was able to accomplish this year at the College World Series. Meantime, if you roll back the Wayback Machine and go back to the late 1990s, that was the bad stuff of Gamecock football. And our next guest is a freelance writer who currently resides up in Raleigh. He's a 1995 graduate of USC and a lifelong Gamecock fan, so he suffered through this as well. Alan Piercy, his latest book project is a profile of the difficult 1998 and 99 Gamecock football seasons and the great turnaround in the early 2000s. It is entitled, It Could Have Been Worse. A 21-game losing streak in the battle for the soul of Gamecock football is due out in 2028. And it's our pleasure to welcome Alan to Sports Talk. Alan, good evening. How are you, sir?
Hey, guys. Good evening. Doing well. Hope everybody is, and happy to be here.
Well, we appreciate the time tonight. So I love your title because I'm sure there are Gamecock fans who remember those early days under Lou Holtz and are wondering, how could it possibly have gotten any worse?
Well, it was rough. It was a rough patch for sure. I'm co-authoring this book with USC historian Evan Falconberry, and I met Evan a couple of years ago. I had done an appearance on Remembering the Days, USC History podcast with Chris Horn, and Evan is the co-host there. And we went to lunch after, and Evan just brought up this idea and kind of pitched it to me, and I think he was looking for a writing partner to work on it. And my first thought was, who in the world would want to read that book about the 98 and 99 Carolina football seasons? But the more I got to thinking about it, of course, you had the great turnaround in 2000, still tied, I think, for the second greatest turnaround in NCAA football history, 8-game turnaround season over season. But you had so many kind of cool factors about that time that made it interesting. It was kind of the last months, and years, the last couple of years before 9/11. You had no social media, no smartphones. It was a completely different world that we were living in. South Carolina was also approaching the bicentennial year in 2001. We were heading into a new century. And so there was just a lot of kind of cool stuff going on culturally and at the university and around the country. That when I started thinking about it, I was like, that is kind of interesting. And then, two different coaching staffs. You got Lou Holtz coming in for the second of those years. And he's just, always interesting. And so the more I got thinking about it, the more I thought, yeah, there's something there. And there's enough distance to it now. We're going on 30 years down the road that doesn't sting quite as much probably to kind of look back on those seasons. There's enough water under the bridge. I thought it would, maybe this is the right time to do a book like that.
Alan, I don't want to give away what you and Evan have been able to uncover too much because we want folks to buy the book when it comes out next year, or actually in 2 years, I beg your pardon, in 2028. But what things, when you started digging into just how bad things had gotten at South Carolina with the football program, were there any substances that sort of surprised you that you didn't already know about those 2 years?
I just finished, writing about the 98 season. And so getting ready to go into the off season and then of course the hiring of Coach Holtz and so forth. But just going through that 98 season, that was not a terrible football team. In spring practice, we had a number of key injuries, particularly to our secondary, and then in the early part of the season, the injuries continued. We had just, our defense was just decimated by injuries, and the offensive line as well. Injuries are a part of football, but that team was particularly stricken by an unusual run of bad luck. I had forgotten. Anthony Wright, of course, had the terrible knee injury against Tennessee the prior year in 97. And I kind of forgotten the story about his rehab and what he went through to get ready to come back, and started game one against Ball State in 98 and just everything that he went through in such a difficult year after such high hopes, coming off of his rehab. Some of the difficulties we had in the kicking game. At one point, we had missed 9 straight field goals, and Coach Scott opened it up to walk-on tryouts to try to get somebody to put it through the sticks. And so it's just a lot of different things, and seeing that team, kind of reliving that team, going from game to game to game to game, and in some of those games they were pretty darn close. We're right there in it, and just critical mistakes, critical turnovers, missed field goals, all those sort of contributing factors. And by the end of the season, it was, you just felt, and here I am, 8 years later, you just felt for those guys, that team, that coaching staff. And so it still kind of hurt, reading all those articles and writing about it. You still felt for those guys.
Alan, Mike Gillespie here. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I had a great opportunity last summer when I was working for 1801 Media. We went down and interviewed the great Lou Holtz in his home in Orlando, and the thing that stuck out to me the most, and I had known Lou for about 10 years at that point. He was always such a positive guy, and I some of his players have told me, some things that weren't so positive, obviously. On the sidelines, he could be extremely fiery, right? But I think that's every coach. But, you go back and look, and, you're 0-11 in 99, and then that next season, you go 8-4, and you win the Outback Bowl, and you finish ranked. And that has to be one of the greatest turnarounds in college football history.
It is. Again, statistically, it's second greatest turnaround in NCAA football history, tied with a couple other teams, I think. So, yeah, it was. I remember at one point, maybe 4 or 5 games in, Coach Holtz was doing an interview, and he was kind of taken aback by it. Like, he couldn't get over what was happening. And he said something like, it's a miracle. It feels like a miracle. Yeah. And there was one other thing that struck me, looking at the two seasons. They felt so different. The results were very similar. In fact, 99 was a little worse, actually. We didn't win anything in 99. We won one game in 98, but it felt different. And I remember as a fan watching those games, there was just this sense of, if we can just get through this year, there was such a belief that Coach Holtz was going to pull a rabbit out of a hat at South Carolina, like he was known to do. Literally and figuratively, he was known to, do magic tricks. He had revised so many programs. He was he got us through that season just by sheer force of personality. And there was just an optimism and a belief that things were going to get better that did not exist the prior season in 98.
Yeah, and you have to credit, I would, just the optimism. And really the belief, it's pretty remarkable. One question I had for you about that 99 team, I'm wondering, at some point, where was sort of the give up, right? I mean, did the player, was it at 0-5? I mean, like, as the talking to these former players, like, do they say, all right, we've now lost, 18 games in a row or whatever it is. Like, why do I even need to go and play this, game on Saturday? Did you hear any of that, or, were the players, still kind of giving it all they had?
Yeah, great question. I think anybody that's ever played on a losing team has probably felt that. I have myself. And so there's always that element in the locker room of maybe a segment of the team that is sort of going down that negative path. But I credit both coaching staffs, actually, and that's one thing that has stuck out to me. Coach Scott, just the poise and the dignity that he carried himself with, going through that season and knowing probably what was going to come. He put on such a brave public persona. that earlier that season, 98, his wife, I think we were up at Kentucky maybe. It was after the game. She was coming down from the bleachers and had stepped down onto the field and I think broke one ankle and sprained the other. And so, you had stuff like that even. And Coach Scott, you kind of quipped Monday after the game. He said that she would probably be on injured reserve the rest of the season. But you just had, but he just, in his interactions with the media, people loved Coach Scott. He was just this sort of, he was a great, great person. And that never changed. And obviously he was probably going through, a terrible, internal struggle and strife and so forth. But his outward persona and the way he treated the media and so forth, that never changed. And with Coach Holtz, it was a little bit of a different situation. Things were new and, he had his jokes and people were charmed by Coach Holtz and those jokes kind of got stale later on when things weren't going so well, but people were just enamored by him and he was such a celebrity, from his days at Notre Dame, and he was a television personality, and I think people were just in awe of him. Certainly the fans were, and I think the players were too. And we were fortunate to have the turnaround in 2000. That may not have been the case in 2000 if things had not gone well. But I think in 99, things were still so new. And yeah, they were going through the 21 game losing streak. But, I think they were still just sort of in awe of the fact that Coach Holtz was there. And again, that sheer force of personality, he kind of led everybody through that.
It should be quite the read. It is entitled It Could Have Been Worse, a 21-game losing streak in the battle for the soul of Gamecock football. It is due out in 2028, so go ahead and mark it down on your calendars. Co-authored by Evan Falkenberry and our guest here tonight as we talk about Gamecock football and look back on some of the lesser seasons. Alan Piercy, our special guest tonight. Alan, we really appreciate the time. Fascinating discussion, and we are looking forward to when this book comes out. It'll be a must-read, I think, for all Gamecock fans. As you pointed out, it's been long enough now that maybe some of the heartbreak has gone by the wayside, and we appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Good talking with you.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. That is Alan Piercy, freelance writer from Raleigh. He's a 95 Carolina grad, and yeah, I had to joke with him, though. I love the title of the book, Mike. It Could Have Been Worse is the starting. I just don't know how a 21-game losing streak could have gotten any worse, but maybe it could have.
Statistically, I don't think it could have. I think that it was rock bottom.
There's
but
no question. If that's not rock bottom, you can see it from there.
Yeah, for sure. Love the title, though, for sure. Yeah, you're spot on.
No doubt. It'll be a good book, I'm sure. Alan Piercy's written a couple. As a matter of fact, he has another book called A Gamecock Odyssey, University of South Carolina Sports in the Independent Era. May have to get him back to chat about that because Phil likes to say those were the years in which Carolina football was walking in the deserts, walking in the wilderness. So we'll catch up with Alan Piercy another time. All right, we will take a final break. We'll come back. Mike and I will re-rack things and look at some of the other news notes of the day. Got time for a text message or two. If you'd like to send one in, we'd certainly love to hear from you on this big Thursday here on Sports Talk.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is here, and as you get ready to go out on the water this spring and summer, make sure you have all the required safety equipment on board. Check for a sound device. A horn or whistle will suffice for most boats. Inspect all of your life jackets. Make sure they're in good condition and are the correct size for all of your passengers. If your boat is over 16 feet, you will need to make sure you have an approved throwable device on board as well. Remember, boating safety is no accident.
If you want to reach sports fans, there's no better place than the Sports Talk Media Network. We give your business exposure on over 20 radio affiliates across South Carolina, plus online at SportsTalkSC.com and on our growing social media platforms. That means radio, digital, and social, all working together for your brand. Our audience is loyal, engaged, and they trust what they hear from us. We partner with local businesses, regional brands, and anyone who wants to connect with real sports fans. From live reads and sponsorships to digital advertising, we'll build a custom campaign to fit your goals and budget. Ready to advertise with Sports Talk Media Network? Visit sportstalksc.com/sales-contact. That's sportstalksc.com/sales-contact. Sports Talk Media Network, advertising that reaches sports fans.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
In 2012, inside Clemson football's weight room, a different kind of barbell was developed. The Tsunami Bar is a flexible, oscillating bar designed to enhance high-intensity training while helping reduce joint stress. Unlike traditional rigid bars, it moves. That movement forces your stabilizer muscles to activate, your core to engage, and your body to produce force more efficiently. The result is improved strength, better balance, and more functional performance. Tsunami Bar Sports continues to provide innovative, dynamic training solutions that empower individuals of all fitness levels to reach their peak potential. Whether you're training for general fitness, building resilience, or improving rotational strength for sports like golf, the Tsunami Bar challenges your body in ways traditional equipment cannot. Learn more at TsunamiBarSports.com.
Headed for home on a big Thursday edition of Sports Talk Media Network. Big thank you tonight to Skylar Meade for dropping by for a visit. As always, Chris Dorsey talking American Legion baseball, and our most recent guest, Alan Piercy, for dropping by. And, of course, really appreciate Mike Gillespie sitting in with us tonight. Hope to coax Mike to come back tomorrow. I may have to give him a Seawell's gift certificate to do so.
Yes.
As reimbursement for his troubles.
I'm going to have to get my agent involved in this.
Phil loves free agency, so yeah, that's the way to do it. 888-898-2525, the phone number, keep that in mind. And also our text line at 803-900-4847, presented by Larry Lucas, State Farm Insurance. And Plummer, we evidently have a couple of text messages we thought we would clear before the show wraps up tonight.
Well, we have a few, and we'll get to the first one. First one's from the 864. Do you think that John McKissick's record in football will be broken? He has the most wins in football. Do you think it'll ever be broken? Thank you.
Wow. I mean, the easy answer, Mike, is no, right? I mean, first off, I don't think you'll have coaches that stay in the business, even to the high school level, for that length of time. But I'm not sure. There may be a coach in somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, that has 800 wins and still is only 50 years old. So I would say my immediate reaction is no.
I'm going to go the opposite and say yes, because I think you're going to have more coaches get out of college football because of all of the hassles and headaches.
621 wins, Here's a better question. Can you get 621 wins and only have 155 losses?
that's a better question. Yeah, no, that's the odds are against you there for sure.
Like I said, he was a remarkable coach. There's no question, and the amount of wins he was able to compile on just incredibly talented Somerville teams with 10 state crowns. He was a treasure in our state, and clearly one of the first, if not the first head that goes up on the Mount Rushmore of South Carolina high school football coaches. I don't think there's any argument there.
All righty.
All right, Josh, what else do we have?
All right, you're going to have to excuse me on this one because I'm not too sure who this gentleman is, but from the 843, everybody talking about eligibility. How about Chris Wilkie, 28 years old, playing college football? What the heck? Do you know anything about this guy?
Well, that's why we've got this new 5-for-5 rule, right?
Yep.
Couldn't have happened at a better time. So we're not going to hopefully have 30-year-olds playing against 19-year-olds.
What? Spell the guy's last name?
Wilkie.
Wilkie.
I looked it up. I couldn't find him. Yeah.
You don't suppose he's thinking, Mike, of when Chris Winkie came back and played college football and enrolled at Florida State when he was in his mid-20s, do you?
I don't know.
Is he possibly...
I'm not sure. There's a Carson Wilkie. That's at Colgate. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm just wondering if
it could have been it, and he was 28 years old during his historic senior season in 2000.
Yeah.
Chris Winkie was.
Yeah. So may have to research that further. All right, that's going to wrap things up, folks. Appreciate you tuning in. Mike, we enjoyed having you, my friend. Thank you so much. Plummer,
thank you.
Always fun. And we'll see you back here tomorrow to get into the weekend on a Friday night Sports Talk.